What's good people? It's your boy Ahmad here for another episode of I'm Just Sayin. So today, I'm gonna get my tech bag. And I think you guys are gonna like this one. So I'm gonna give you some advice. But before I start, slight disclaimer. Sorry about any glare in the glasses. I'm shooting this on my iPhone 15 Pro Max. It's gonna be a theme of my channel. I'm gonna really try to shoot on my iPhone. Hopefully get better with that. Edit everything on my Final Cut Pro for iPad, on my iPad 12.9 Pro, iPad Pro 12.9 inch. So yeah, that's that. Hopefully get better at it, quality increase, yada yada yada, whole thing. But as I alluded to earlier, today's episode is going to be more my tech bag. So a little background on myself. Been in tech, IT, 20 plus years. So I've done some things, right? So what we're going to be talking about today is really tips for getting into cloud security and cloud engineering specifically. Over the past several years, that has been the focus of my career. So I can give you guys some tips on, things you need to know, probably things you need to learn, how to pivot from one to the other, so forth and so on, right? So, as I just stated, I've been in IT for a good minute. It's 2023. I'm probably telling my age here, but I got into IT. I think my first gig was 99. I got into 1999. Yes, 1999. Yeah, exactly. Weird, right? I got my first security gig 2004. Right. So I've been primarily security focused since then, and then now my role is more kind of some security stuff, but not solely security focused. There's a lot of engineering without the security hat on aspect of this job. So my current position, security wise, I've been everything from a firewall engineer. I've done compliance audits. I've done pen testing, consulting. I've done a number of things. I've had the pleasure to be able to kind of experience a number of things. So I have perspective on a lot of different things from the security side of things. Cloud being more recent, but a lot of people don't really, well, at least lately they've been focusing more on it. But before the past maybe 6, 7, 8 months, security in the cloud was not at the forefront or not at the level it should be, right, from an awareness standpoint. But let me back up. That's a whole different tangent I could go off into on that. So as far as the tips go, as far as getting into cloud engineering, cloud security, and anything really cloud related, first thing you need to do, as with any IT discipline or IT field, is you have to have a passion for it. The reason why I say that is this: technology is always changing, always changing. So you're going to need to be able to have the desire to study, to keep up, to be aware of trends. And this is from the engineering level all the way to a certain extent to the people leader level, right? Obviously, the higher up the food chain you go, the less you have to be aware of things on the technical side, and there's other things you have to be aware of. But once again, different conversation. So passion is the first thing. Secondly, you need to, and you don't always have to stay here, but you need to find your entry point, right? Is engineering your passion? Is security your passion? Is find, as with anything, find what you like about IT and what you want to do, and then move towards that goal, right? Third thing is, and some of these are requirements, some of these are nice to have. The first two I just named were requirements. This third thing, from a cloud perspective, I think it's a nice to have. It's not a requirement. Python. If you know Python, it will help you greatly. A lot of the things that I know, especially for AWS on my team, and even in Azure, but more so AWS, because there's also the PowerShell component for Azure, so you can write a lot of things in PowerShell. PowerShell does not come into play as much in AWS, not really, to be honest with you. So Python, however, for all the cloud providers, is something that can be utilized. So it'll help you automate things. It will help you. It will help you automate things. It'll help you, which is in turn going to improve your environment. It'll help you create tools to be able to do certain things. Cloud providers have a myriad of tools that they can offer to their customers to do certain things, but they don't offer you everything, right? So knowing Python is going to make you more valuable to the team and also probably make your life easier. Python is one of the easier languages to learn. I'm actually improving my Python skills. I have, I know enough to function. I'm getting better. I'm trying to get to the point where, I'm a master at it. It's just like with anything. And that kind of leads me to my next kind of point/requirement. If you're going to do something, do it. If you're going to learn something, learn it to the best of your ability. Don't half-ass do anything. I'm just going to be honest with you. Don't halfway do anything. If you're not going to do it, don't do it. If you're going to do it, right? And so, and I think that'll serve you well as a cloud engineer, cloud security, anything IT, anything professional life related. I think that's going to serve you well. Another thing that I think that you need to have, it's a nice to have, it's not necessarily a requirement. There's two separate points. One is a nice to have, one's a requirement from a security standpoint. But from a nice to have standpoint, networking. If you're able to network or understand networking, understand subnetting, understand how network traffic flows, much of it is applicable in the cloud, right? The cloud, most people view the cloud as this mystic entity, yada, yada, yada. If you're in traditional IT now, on-prem, right, you're dealing in data centers, you're dealing with your corporate network, your corporate on-prem network, firewall still exists, networking still exists, routers, subnets, IP address issues, IP address space management. I think it's probably even a bigger problem in the cloud. Monitoring things that a lot of those things you're currently dealing with in traditional space, you're going to deal with in the cloud. Actually, a lot of the vendors that offer you the on-prem solutions offer cloud solutions as well, such as your Cisco's, your Palo Alto's, your WAF teams like your Perva. A lot of those entities are going to offer similar products in the cloud. So network is a big plus. A requirement to eventually understand, not necessarily as soon as you get in, but you need to have a concept of what it is IAM, or Identity Access Management. IAM is one of the central components to security in the cloud, right? Traditional networking, traditional on-prem stuff, IAM is important, but your firewalls, and your IDS, IPS, and all the other neat little cool tools, and spinning up VPNs and yada yada. A lot of that stuff are your primary tools to secure that environment, right? The cloud, it's different. Those tools still come into play for the most part. However, IAM is one of the cornerstones of securing your environment. Permissions, managing those permissions, associating them with the right roles with the right groups, permissions, depending, and each cloud provider does their IAM slightly different, so you kind of need to learn the nuances, but the concepts are the same. Only allow people to do what they're supposed to do, give them permissions to do what they're supposed to do, and that's it, right? And once you learn how to do that concept and the best way to do it, and then integrating it into the corporate environment, it's awesome. So if you have experience with that, you have a leg up. Also, another I would probably say it's a requirement, is going to be, it's a nice to have, it's borderline requirement, is understanding keys. Key management is going to be pivotal in certain aspects of the cloud, because a lot of the authentication mechanisms rely on keys and key management. I know the AI, which has kind of exploded onto the scene. A lot of the cloud providers, their AI offerings, whether it be AWS with Bedrock or Azure with OpenAI or GCP with Vertex, they're going to have some component which relies on keys that to secure that interaction between the API and the underlying infrastructure, right? So key management is key, and not even outside of AI. Key management is going to be important and paramount from a security standpoint to making your cloud environment not only secure, but operating at maximum efficiency and providing the most flexibility it can. Another thing I would say is pretty, I don't want to say if it's a requirement or really a nice to have, is really just to be able to research. I'm going to say it's a requirement. I'm not even going to say it's not. I'm trying to sugarcoat it. It's a requirement. The ability to research, you have to be able to research things. You're never going to know everything. And the minute you think you know something, something new is going to come out. You have to have the ability to research. You have to have the ability to, digest information, translate it in a way that you can understand it, or ingest it in a way that you can understand it, and then, kind of put your own spin on it. And with that research, documentation ties in directly as well. Document, right? Now, how are you saying, Amal, you told me a lot of things that are, good for, being a cloud or being in the cloud engineering, cloud security space. How do I get to that point? Okay. If you can learn a lot of those skills that I just mentioned, you are more attractive to prospective employers. Obviously, training on a specific cloud is paramount, right? So I would say, pick a cloud, Azure, AWS, GCP, pick a cloud and learn how they do their things. Take a cert exam. I know some people, I don't want to take a cert. If you want to jump to the front of the line for a cloud engineer or cloud security position, if you are certified in, let's say, AWS, you don't even have to be at a professional level, right? You can be a solutions architect associate, right? It's saying that, you at least are familiar with a lot of the core concepts. You know enough to pass our exam, which we take pride in. And a lot of people will give credence to the fact that because you passed the Amazon, the AWS exam, that you know enough to be competent, right? Excuse my ears itching. Smart people know just because you pass the exam doesn't mean that you know every freaking thing, right? What it will tell me, though, is that you have a great foundation, right? So, that is something that is going to be, important. And the same thing goes for Azure and GCP, yada, 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 right? Also, your CCSP from IC Squared, that's attractive. There's a number of things. I know certs aren't to be all and end all. They don't really signify truly whether this person is a master at it or not. What it does is it shows you have, at some level, an understanding of the concepts that it's going to take to manage my cloud environment. And based on your, other factors like your experience and, and what your interests are will determine whether you're a fit. So I'm going to do more of these. This was just a quick something. There's a number of other things I could address and discuss on as it relates to cloud or so forth and so on. But like I said, this is just a quick one. Didn't want to make this super, super long. I could talk about this stuff for hours. But I figured it's time I get my tech bag, just kind of give you guys some of my experience, my perspective on, cloud engineering, what it takes to get into it. If you have any questions, want to discuss more about this, you want me to make another video on it and do a little bit deeper dive, or want to make this into a series, let me know. But that's really it. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Hopefully you enjoy the new surroundings. I'm not outside. I am in my office, but at home. But like I said, enjoy the rest of your day. See you guys next time. Until then, peace.